Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling a really fundamental question if you're looking at a gold IRA, using physical precious metals for retirement.
Yeah.
You make the investment, okay, but then where exactly is your gold? It's not like sitting in your basement safe, right?
No, exactly. And that's the key point we want to clarify today. When you opt for a gold IRA, your actual metals, the physical gold or silver, are held by a special kind of financial institution. They're called a custodian.
Custodian, okay.
Yeah, and our mission, let's say, in this deep dive is really to explore what these custodians do, their essential role, and importantly, why having one isn't just a good idea, it's required.
Required, okay, that's important. And to help us unpack this, we've been looking at a really helpful article by Doug Young, who holds my gold in a gold IRA. Found it on a site that focuses on gold IRA news and insights.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, let's start there. What's the core job of this custodian?
Well, at its heart, you can think of a gold IRA custodian as the guardian, really, the dedicated guardian of the physical precious metals you hold in that retirement account.
Yeah.
They're specialized institutions, and their main job is holding and safeguarding your gold, your silver, whatever eligible metal it is within that IRA structure.
So they physically hold it, protect it. That's the main thing.
That's a huge part of it, yes. And that role is directly tied to IRS rules. You see, the IRS has very specific regulations about where physical precious metals in an IRA can be kept.
Okay.
They can't just be anywhere. They must be stored in a specially approved depository. So the custodian's job, a primary one, is making sure that happens, ensuring that compliance.
I see. So holding it yourself, like personal possession, that's just not on the table for this kind of IRA.
Correct. You absolutely cannot. Using a custodian isn't optional. It's a fundamental IRS requirement if you want to legally hold physical gold or silver or platinum within an IRA.
Right.
Without that custodian, the whole structure, the physical metals IRA, it just isn't legally recognized. And it's not arbitrary. It's set up that way to maintain the legitimacy and the tax advantages of your retirement savings.
Okay. That makes sense. It's about the rules.
Yeah.
So beyond just, holding the gold, what else are these custodians doing? Seems like there's more to it.
Oh, definitely. Their responsibilities are actually quite broad. So beyond the really critical task of physically holding your assets securely, they're responsible for the overall safekeeping.
Okay.
That includes a really vital step, verifying the purity of the metals. They have to make sure the gold or silver meets the specific standards the IRS sets. That's crucial for it to even be allowed in an IRA.
So they check the quality, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then, after verification, they arrange for the storage in those IRS-approved depositories we just mentioned.
Right, the secure facilities.
Yes. And it doesn't stop there. Custodians also handle a huge amount of the admin. Think record keeping, managing all the necessary paperwork, and very importantly, reporting your IRA holdings to the IRS as required.
So they deal with the bureaucratic side for you.
Pretty much, yeah. They guide you through what can be a complex landscape. They also help with understanding the tax implications, handling distributions if you take money out, or rollovers if you move funds. It's all about keeping your account compliant long term.
And Doug Young's article mentions security, too, provided by the custodian.
Yes, that's a major plus. Because they use these secure approved depositories, your metals usually come with insurance coverage.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it protects against risks like theft or, physical damage. It adds a really important layer of peace of mind for your investment.
Now, we keep saying gold IRA, but it's not just gold, is it?
That's a great point. No, while gold is in the name, these IRAs can actually hold other precious metals too, as long as they meet the IRS purity standards. So silver, platinum, palladium, those are often options as well.
So you could potentially diversify even within the precious metals part of your portfolio.
Precisely. And, as Doug Young points out in his piece, spreading your investment across different metals like that might act as a bit of a hedge against market swings because different metals can react differently to economic changes.
Okay, so custodian handles holding, the paperwork, IRS compliance. Let's dig a bit deeper into the storage itself. These approved depositories, what are they actually like?
Well, think Fort Knox, but for private assets. These IRS-approved places are incredibly secure facilities. They use, state-of-the-art security.
Like what specifically?
Things like 247 video surveillance, often with off-site recording backups, multiple layers of physical security, reinforced vaults, timed locks, maybe even armed guards on site. Really robust protection.
Wow, okay, that sounds serious.
It has to be. Maximum security is the name of the game. And given how strict the IRS rules are, this level of security isn't just nice to have, it's essential. Getting it wrong, non-compliance can lead to some pretty serious penalties.
Penalties you definitely want to avoid. So how do the custodians make sure they stay on the right side of all these IRS rules?
Well, IRS compliance is really central to what they do. Custodians know these specific regulations inside and out. It's their job. They keep meticulous records of every transaction, manage all the required paperwork, and handle the reporting to the IRS for you.
So they're like a crucial buffer, almost, helping you navigate those complex rules.
In many ways, yes. Their expertise is really valuable for investors trying to understand the sometimes tricky tax implications, especially when it comes to things like taking distributions or doing rollovers later on.
Right, this really highlights how important choosing the right custodian must be. What should someone actually look for when they're making that choice?
That's a critical decision, absolutely. Doug Young stresses this too. You need a partner you can trust to safeguard your assets and keep everything above board with the regulations. There are several key things to evaluate.
Okay, like what? What are the main factors?
First off, check their experience. How long have they specifically been managing Gold IRAs? You want someone who knows the ropes.
Makes sense.
Second, really scrutinize the security measures at the depositories they use. You need to feel confident your assets are safe. Insurance coverage is another big one. What exactly do they cover? How much? Against what risks?
Security, insurance, got it. What about just, dealing with them day to day?
Good point. You need to look closely at their fee structure. Is it transparent? Do you understand exactly what you'll be paying for? No hidden surprises?
Yeah, fees are always important.
And finally, do your homework on their reputation. Look for client reviews, testimonials, check with regulatory bodies like the Better Business Bureau, maybe financial regulators, see if there are complaints. Also, what services do they offer beyond just holding the metal? Do they provide educational support? Things like that.
So it's really about doing proper due diligence, checking them out thoroughly.
Exactly. And Doug Young also points out something useful here often. Working with an established Gold IRA company can streamline this.
How does that work?
Well, reputable Gold IRA companies, the ones that help you set up the account and buy the metals, usually already have relationships with specific experienced custodians.
Oh.
They can often give you recommendations, maybe even have preferred partners. This can simplify things because the company and the custodian need to work closely together anyway. Their existing relationship can mean, smoother processes for you.
Okay, let's tackle a question I bet a lot of listeners have. We've talked about these ultra-secure depositories, but what about just keeping the gold at home? I mean, for some people, that might feel like the ultimate control.
Yeah, I understand the appeal, that idea of having it right there, but the IRS is crystal clear on this one. You absolutely cannot store your Gold IRA assets at home. It's a direct violation of the rules.
And if someone did, what are the consequences? Must be significant.
Oh, they are. If you violate that rule, your entire IRA could be disqualified.
The whole thing.
The whole thing. It would likely be treated as if you took a full distribution of the assets, meaning you'd owe income taxes on the whole value immediately, plus potential penalties for noncompliance or early withdrawal if you're under the age limit.
Wow. Okay, definitely not worth the risk. So, putting aside the penalties, what are the real upsides of using those approved depositories then?
The biggest advantage is simply the level of security. These places are purpose-built to protect high-value assets like precious metals. They have systems and protocols far beyond what anyone could realistically replicate at home.
Right.
And as we mentioned, there's usually insurance coverage involved that provides a financial safety net against loss or damage that you just wouldn't have storing it yourself.
So when you're looking at the options the custodian gives you for depositories, what specific security things should you ask about?
Good question. You should definitely ask for details. Things like, is the surveillance to Umbersalsen? Do they use motion detectors? What about access controls? Are they biometric, like fingerprint or iris scans? And absolutely confirm the details of their insurance policy. What does it cover? What are the limits? You want to be sure it provides, the highest level of security possible for your investment.
Okay, let's hit a couple of frequently asked questions. The big one. Can I actually hold the gold from my Gold IRA myself? We've kind of covered this, but let's just give a really clear, definitive answer.
The definitive answer is unequivocally no. IRS rules mandate that the assets in your Gold IRA have to be held in an approved depository managed by a custodian. Trying to store it at home, no matter how secure you think your setup is, goes against the regulations. And as we said, that can lead to pretty hefty financial consequences, taxes, penalties. It's really vital to work with your custodian to make sure you're always following the storage rules.
Okay, clear enough. Another worry people might have. What if my custodian, the company holding my metals, goes out of business? That sounds, well, pretty scary.
It's a valid concern, definitely. But the good news is your assets aren't just going to disappear if that happens. The metals in your IRA are held in trust for you.
Ah, okay.
So what would happen is you'd need to find a new custodian to take over the management of your account. It's a process of transferring the custodianship.
So it's a transfer, not a loss.
Exactly. Your assets are safe. Most custodians actually have contingency plans for this kind of situation to make the transition as smooth as possible. But, if it were to happen, you'd want to act fairly quickly to find that new custodian and get the transfer started just to avoid any potential hiccups with your IRA.
This has been really, really helpful in clarifying that custodian role. It's obviously much more than just finding a place to stash the gold. It's about who's responsible for it.
Precisely. Understanding what the custodian does is it's fundamental if you're going to invest confidently in a Gold IRA. They really are the guardians of your assets. They make sure you're following the IRS rules, and they provide that secure storage.
So the key takeaway seems to be, you own the gold, yes, but the custodian is the professional partner you absolutely need, the one entrusted with keeping it safe and making sure your retirement investment stays compliant.
That's it, exactly. They provide that crucial layer of security and regulatory peace of mind.
Okay, here's a final thought for you to consider. Think about the sense of security that comes from knowing there's a specialized regulated institution whose whole job is looking after the secure holding of your precious metal retirement funds. It kind of frees you up, doesn't it? Frees you up to focus on your bigger long-term financial goals, knowing that the tricky details of storage and compliance are being handled by experts.